Guys, I'm gonna be straight up honest. Over the weekend, I wasn't able to catch any of the Yugioh World stuff, so I came up with the brilliant idea to watch it all today and then watch this week's Yu-Gi-Oh episode just because I didn't realize it had been posted or even think to check until about an hour ago. As for what I have to say about Worlds, we'll get more into that either tomorrow or Wednesday. Just know that right now I am fried. So if I seem a little bit tired or unenthusiastic, just know that's the reason. Or if this video ends up being a little short, it's just because I close my eyes right now and I see Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. But getting into this episode, weirdly enough, this episode kind of fits the way I feel right now, because it was a lot less intense, and for an episode that has the most intense character on the show, in a situation you think would get very serious, it took the more calm approach, which is interesting, and might disappoint some people, but all in all, I thought made this episode unique, and the dynamic very interesting. So, obviously the little cutbacks to Sawatori meant nothing, those were just there. What kind of was interesting in this episode, so we finally saw Shun face Ruri, and for the first time I kind of got an idea what their relationship might have been like pre all the destruction and badness. The way they embraced was nice, you knew what was coming, but you get sort of an inkling, particularly with the flashback to Ruri's versus Sayaka duel. And what was interesting was you see the way Shun slapped the card out of her hand. I got a real inclining for what these two characters are, and it made me rethink of that picture we saw of Ruri with Shun and Yuto. And it really hit me just what kind of characters these are, and it kind of gave me a new understanding of Shun. Shun has always been someone who is tough, very serious, very straightforward. So when Ruri gets kidnapped and he has to try and find a way to save her, his directions now make more sense because that's the way he's always been. Now he's been amplified by the darkness and the twistedness of the life around him. So even though that was a very small scene, it gave me a lot of insight into the way this character is and the way their relationship was. It also makes Ruri feel more of a bit like a person as opposed to an entity, as up until this point she's been very sort of light on being around at all. But overall, I sort of liked the way that went out. And even the duel, though it was kind of one-sided, you sort of got more of a sense that there was no way she could ever beat him. Like, we explained earlier in the series that Yugioh and Rin have always been fairly on par with each other because they grew up together. But Shun is older, appears to have a better deck, so therefore he should be stronger than her. And don't forget, Parasite Fusioner just gives them a fusion. It doesn't seem to do anything to their skill level, which I think is also really good because it made the loss very sort of natural. Like, I could see that coming. And in a related note, that is very strange that they introduced this whole plot element with Parasite Fusioner and kind of more or less abandon it 2 episodes later by sort of getting rid of the threat. Like, we knew that ultimately one of these girls was just going to overcome it by the power of friendship, but to do it this early is very interesting, but again, it makes sense. I can't see her beating Shun. So I thought they made it work in a very interesting dynamic. Also, I liked her archetype. I like that she had cute moe bird girls as opposed to Shun and his big tank birds. Again, reiterating this concept that he has always been tough and serious while she has always been kind and understanding. That was very neat. But the other big thing that I really liked, and this was pretty much all else that incorporated this episode, was seeing Ruri inside her own mind. The way she was sitting there in the darkness, it had sort of a creepy vibe to it, and the way she overcame it, it also gave context to, like, I don't know if you all remember this a couple weeks ago, I was saying how at the end of their duel, Rin seemed very sort of disconnected at the final turn, most likely because Rin inside, like her inside her own mind, was trying to fight back at that last second. She just couldn't get to it in time, making me feel like that if another second had gone by, that duel could have gone very different. So I liked seeing that implemented here because it gives sort of more of a personality and sort of an inclining to everything. So all in all, it was a little odd to do it the way they did it. I still sort of liked how it went and how it was represented. The last real thing that happened in this episode that was interesting was sort of the character dynamic and contrast between the Doctor and Professor Leo, or whatever his name is right now. I thought that was really neat that the scientist almost looked like he was getting off on this, like seeing the two and pushing her to see what he could find in Rui's head to hurt Shun. I thought was really interesting. While the professor, he's all business. He just wants to get this over with. So that I thought was really neat and could end up being very interesting as we go. But yeah, no, this is a slower one. I kind of liked it though, because again, it did things a little bit different than what I was expecting and did it well. But what did you think? You can tell me that in the comments below. And as for the TCG question of the week, give me your thoughts on Worlds, as I'd like to get some other opinions, not just commentators. But other than that, click the like, click subscribe, and we'll see where everything goes tomorrow.